Hey, this is Carissa Miller, and this is Lula Pottery for your ears. I can't not make stuff. And pottery is an infinitely explorable universe, so I won't get bored. And that concludes today's episode. I don't have the data to show whether all of the characteristics that follow are mandatory to be a working potter. I may have built my own echo chamber, but among those I know, potters and artists in general, we are too alike for coincidence. There's something solid about certain personalities being drawn to certain professions. The stereotypical traits for cops, teachers, and doctors are real. Underwater welders, especially, are a very specific sort of people. My friend Jim was born a journalist, and he seems to have been notified of this among his very first cognizant thoughts, which has always pissed me off. I didn't figure out I was a potter until I was almost 40. In those tender late years when our adults were telling us we needed to decide on something to study so we could have a career in that field from right after college to our last dying breath, I panicked under pressure. I didn't know it was bullshit. I was so lectured and scolded about only being a right, true, valuable person if I had an approved, proper job that I ran at whatever fit the bill, multiple times, with a 100% dropout rate. I can't think of anything that I don't know about that wouldn't be interesting to me. If I don't know about it, it's interesting. Everything novel is interesting. My problem for several decades was mistaking something I didn't know about for something that would still be interesting once I knew about it and did it every weekday from 8 to 5. There's arouse your curiosity interesting and hold your attention interesting. The difference is everything. I would wither and die in an office. I actually did once. I know now that I need play, innovation, and a means of self-expression to survive, and not just on weekends. Ballet gave me that from toddlerhood into my late teen years and continues on in my 5th decade with regular kitchen performances. I discovered that writing did it for me in my early 30s, with my babies curled up asleep on my chest while I edited personal essays and typed inappropriate jokes about motherhood on Twitter. How can I miss you if you won't go away? Is something I've actually said to my 2 and 5-year-old. It's okay. They totally get me. That was one of my jokes. And now I have pottery from 2016 until forever. Here's how I know I'm a good potter. I don't have to fit in anywhere. For someone who doesn't fit in, this is almost enough to win the whole game. I get to be completely in charge. I decide what to do, I decide how to do it, and I do everything myself. This is the artist's triple-edged sword. You've seen those creator videos where artists film themselves touring their company, introducing the production manager and the marketing team, the director of photography and sales department, and they're all the same person. Don't tell anyone, but we love doing everything ourselves. It's the most exhausting. It is all-consuming, but it is just the very best. I am a filthy person. Clean people confound me. I do not understand how they maintain. I use my clothes as a napkin. If I had to try to stay clean, I would not have time to do anything else. I don't know how to get whites white. I don't have any whites for that reason. I do try to keep a few good clothes, but if I don't leave the house directly after putting them on, I will spontaneously paint the house in those clothes. As a potter, it's perfectly acceptable to be out in the world covered in clay. And because of the clay, the food stains and cat hair and chicken shit are less obvious. I have discovered the secret to eternal youth. It's autism. I'm a playful person with a childlike appreciation for all the wonders of the world. I'm not writing a dating profile. I will dive my hand into a bag of rice for the sensory pleasure. I will drag you out of the house to look at the coolest bug I just found. And I will dance in the aisle of any store to any music that is playing, no matter how bad. I prefer the company of plants and animals and children to adults, but I am not mad about being an adult most of the time because I'm allowed to play with powdered rocks and an oven that heats up to over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Pottery is just a grown-up version of mud pies. I'm a naturephile. You're not allowed to be a potter if you wouldn't rather be hiking through the forest or rock hunting in the hills or swimming in the river than almost anywhere else in the world. This one is non-negotiable. I cannot sit still or properly. I'm on the floor with your dog. I dance in my seat when the food is so good. And if I'm plotting something, my body is moving. I'm a good climber and excellent at picking things up with my toes. I'm not sure why I listed this as being good for being a potter. Maybe it's just that being all over the place the way I am would not be suited to very many other jobs. I am MacGyver. I can be trapped in an airtight room with a crying baby, covered in wet paint, and figure out a way to escape using only a rubber band, a dirty sock, and a battery. Every potter can do this. We are superb tinkerers. I enjoy being shredded into tiny pieces. People say not to compare yourself to others. I say you need to look around and know where you stand and figure out what you need to do to get where you want to go and then do it. I think honest self-critique does wonders. I am self-motivated exclusively. I study for fun. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. Take a look around at the most accomplished artists and tell me that they present with a perfectly typical and healthy level of fastidiousness. Maintaining order, lining things up, establishing procedure, having a routine, sticking to the routine, sorting, itemizing, organizing, and planning to a remarkably high degree is not just something I have to do to keep my nervous system balanced, but essential to managing yourself as a working artist. The more I learn about myself as an autistic with ADHD, the more I come to understand that both subjectively and clinically speaking, there is little to describe me as normal or typical. The more I learn about potters and other artists, the more I understand why a huge percentage of us are neurodivergent, one way, another, or in several ways at once. Did I just say every artist is neurodivergent? Nope, I stereotyped. In case you came listening because you thought I would actually tell you what I think is required to be a potter or any kind of artist in general, Fine, here it is. I believe everyone is creative. Everyone, no exceptions. Some people have a knack or talent, meaning that they take to creativity with apparent ease, but even a natural must develop skill. Anyone can develop skill, even those without natural talent. You don't need natural talent to be an artist. Most artists don't have natural talent. They study and practice their asses off. Anyone can be an artist if they study and practice their ass off. This includes establishing an intimate knowledge and understanding of their tools and materials. In the instance of pottery, it's knowing what clay and glaze can do, what they are made of, how to handle them, what they do inside the kiln, and why. That doesn't have anything to do with art. That's understanding craft. Craft isn't art, but you can't have art without craft. Skill also has nothing to do with art. That's the ability to make the tools and materials do what you want. Basic construction and execution. In pottery, it's being able to build simple forms and use the right amount of clay and have the appropriate thickness of walls and base. You can have skill and no art, but you can't have art without skill and craft. You can't make art unless you understand art foundationally. Art is governed by form, balance, composition, style, fundamentals of design, basic artistic principles that are not subjective things. They are teachable, definable elements. Abstract and wabi-sabi are not the result of novice work beyond preschool. Young children are brilliant. Adults can't do that. A good eye can tell the difference between art produced by breaking all the rules and a fired hunk of clay that does not demonstrate any knowledge of the rules. You have to understand the rules and be able to bend them to your will and break them sometimes on purpose. An artist understands what they're working with, can make it do what they want to, and produces something of recognizable, objective artistic value with a developed style of their own. I think anyone can be an artist. Thank you for being here. Let's do this again.